self-explanatory. Okay. So this would not be a repetition of figures what Mr. Thomas has said. I can say again, this is a supplement of what Mr. Thomas has said. Quite remarkably, if we look at the total rural people, rural folk, around 833, just 211 million. You can work out the percentage. 211 million people only have saving account with some bank, not necessarily that should be with private sector bank or national bank, cooperative, any bank. Okay, some account with some bank, only hardly 211 million. Okay, and the people who have access to the bank credit out of this population, rural population, how much have access to the credit loan is hardly 36.1 million. So again, the percentage would still show declining figure. Okay. Talking of the households, families, we have around 146 million families as per the latest data, of which surprisingly only these are the people who have been excluded. They are not part of any banking system. Okay, out of the total population, 146 million households, families, not a single family member of this household have any bank account. They are excluded from the system. So the ratio works out to be how much? Hardly one bank branch for a population of 14,000 people, 14,000. And what is the requirement? We discussed in the morning. What is the requirement? Minimum one bank branch for minimum 2,000, minimum 2,000 population, isn't it? So that is the extent which is required to be serviced by bank branches. Whereas this is the ratio which is showing. If we look at the bank network or bank branch network, surprisingly, all top 10 cities, you know what are the top cities, isn't it? Top 10 cities have 10% of bank branches. They occupy the lion's share as far as network is concerned. Okay? So top 10 cities occupy lion's share of 10% of the total. This is the total of all banks. 10% of the bank branches occupied by 10 cities. Whereas, on the contrary, there are 10 districts. 10 districts. You have seen the map in the morning, isn't it? Showing some remarkable colors. What is that color indicates? There are certain districts, I would not name, mostly in northeastern area, have only one bank branch. What does that indicate? Hardly one bank branch per district. Okay? Could be some sort of improvement, but still, the ratio is quite remarkable. Looking at the services which are non-banking services, what does it indicate? Only 20%, little bit less than 20% of the population have access to life insurance as a service, and less than 10% to non-life, general insurance. Okay? So the figures are quite indicative. Next. So looking at the figures, what is the challenge for us now? As far as providing or access of banking services, financial services to the people is concerned. So what is the need? These numbers need show to articulate a need, clear-cut need for concerted, well-planned, very well-planned strategy or planning process to ensure that all these people who are so far hitherto uncovered to have access to banking as well as financial institution, financial facility through maybe institution, maybe bank or FI, any financial institution. More particularly, it would hold true for weaker sectors or the percentage of people who have low income group, who belong to low income group. So that is more of a priority. Okay. More importantly, which we have already covered, this service has to come at a very fair cost and affordable cost. Okay. This facility has to be quite fair. Okay, and at quite an affordable cost, the cost which normal person, normal villager, normal resident of the village can afford to, as well as transparent manner. This we already discussed, quite transparent manner. Okay. Now, how we will do this? How we will do this? In the process, again we discuss this. Gradually, we will have to move away from the traditional system of what we call as a brick and mortar system. Brick and mortar system, typically structure of a bank branch. Okay. So this financial inclusion would move away from the traditional approach of moving from brick and mortar, a structure type banking, to more dynamic financial inclusion system, financial inclusion model as such. How we'll be doing this? If we say that there is no need of brick and mortar or structural branch, how we'll be doing this? A typical presence of banking correspondence or business correspondence platform. Most emerging platform of business correspondence. Okay? So with this like a branch network, there is a need to establish a huge network of BCs, huge network of banking correspondence all across the nation. Okay? So with this, to go ahead, to move ahead, what is the more requirement? What is the prime requirement first, which we have seen? To spread the spirit of financial literacy. Banking will definitely come. Bank will be offered. Okay? We will definitely open our shop to BC. All banks will be offering to you. But before that, what is the need? The need is some education. There is a need of some literacy, financial literacy. What is this all banking all about? What are the products? What you are entitled to? What you are supposed to have? What you should have as a customer of the bank or any financial institution? That sort of literacy is required. So this should be a first part of this financial inclusion program, as we have seen in the morning. Okay? And more particularly, this literacy has to be quite in a simplified manner, more particularly, more simplified, and has to be in local understanding language, which can be easily understood to the folks. Okay? Next. So while going ahead, what are the challenges to the bank? These challenges are not for me, not only for me, but all emerging bankers like you, emerging executives like you, who are going to join the bank or financial institution. Okay? So more of a challenge, because why I am saying this? When we joined banking sector long back, okay, this challenge was not there. The way more and more challenges are going thrown away to you, to the young class, emerging bankers, this will be more particular. Okay? So let us see in short what are the challenges ahead for you. First and foremost, when we enter the area, when we enter this hinterland of hitherto uncovered area, you need to go to them, close to them, and win their confidence, win their trust first. Okay? You should not be seen as a foreigner for them. You should go to close to their heart. Okay? You should be understood as a person, as a banker who understand their needs well, who understand their issues well. Then you can go through with your agenda as such. Okay? So a challenge first is you should develop a trust, win their heart. Then only you can go ahead, first stage. Okay? Then, next step, to help them gaining financial security. Literacy is okay, opening account, yes, we will open the account also, but more particularly for the rural folk, rural people, what is more important is that they should be ensured of security of their own sources. Okay? Suppose the feeling that once you open the account, they should be comfortable that yes, my bank is equally safe with you as a BC like any conventional bank. This is a sort of security, a feeling of security should be given to them. Okay? So that gradually they can be brought into the mainstream. Okay? Which we are desiring on. Okay? This process, of course, yes, ambitious, may not happen so fast. You will definitely agree. This is a timely process, and more particularly when we are looking for such a big agenda, this needs to be a gradual process. Gradually, day by day. Could be. If you ask me what are the timelines, possibly I cannot tell you as to the entire financial inclusion program, within how much period this will happen. If you ask me, sir, when the last person in the economy will have a bank account, is there a fine answer for me? No. May not be for you also. Okay? So there are no timelines fixed for us. There are no timelines critically fixed as to when this will happen. This could be gradual. This could depend on the mind share of the people. How fast you can convince them, how fast they are convinced, okay, and how fast they can be brought into the mainstream, financial mainstream. Okay? So more particularly, this has to be a gradual process looking at the nature of these people. Okay? Next important point, challenge is the model has to be fully optimized. What do you mean by optimization? That you need to see the number of people, number of BC per or one BC for how many beneficiaries, how many number of account holders. In turn, other words, you need to see the productivity of the BC. How much customers one BC can handle, how much customers he can handle, he can service efficiently. So you need to optimize his productivity as well as his number, his efficiency. His efficiency will be counted in terms of in terms of the service which you are going to render on an efficient number of customers. So you have to optimize in terms of number per BC. Okay. What could be the focus of the BC? The functioning of BC will be to shape from opening an account. It's not limited to opening an account, as we have discussed in the morning session, isn't it? The first phase which we had committed to RBI was that whatever plan we had submitted, the prospective plan on financial inclusion, what we had opened in there, we had committed to RBI that within this period of 3 years, so many number of accounts will be opened, so many geographies will be covered. Okay, so many regions will be covered for opening the account. But is it enough now? The more challenge ahead will be what? To provide the platform to user, to provide the financial platform to the user, wherein he should be comfortably using the transactions, just like a normal bank customer. That platform should be utilized more efficiently and more regularly for all his savings, for all his transactions. Okay, so transactions should be a next buzzword for this financial inclusion model. It's not merely opening up the account only. Of course, this will go along. This would not finish. But the next immediate step would be to make this account transactional, operational, and to procure the saving which the beneficiary is supposed to do with the bank. Okay? The feeling should be given, I feel, the feeling should be what? That he is as a customer, just like you and me. Okay? Even though he is holding the account with the BC, he is just a customer like you and me. Okay? In a sense, suppose he has some balance in the account, that account would attract the interest also, like you and me earn on our balance, isn't it? We earn interest, isn't it? We earn interest we pay interest for whatever balance we have. Yes or no? Yes. So likewise, the feeling should be given to them, to this customer through financial inclusion, through BC model also, that just like any other customer, you are a normal bank customer, except that the platform is different. The media is different. Here, what is the difference? You go to the bank, maybe for some time you stand in the queue, okay, you do your transaction done. Here, what is the mode? Bank himself, they are going to you. Bank is reaching at your residence, at your farm, okay, at some common place in the village. So in here, bank is performing a role of what? We call it as a barefoot banker. You could be landing in the role of barefoot banker. You will be going to the bank. Rather, in other words, bank will be going to the customer himself. Could be change of route. Okay, this is a major challenge. Then another expectation is the technology wise, which again we discussed in the morning, that as an intrinsic feature of financial inclusion is that it should use a very simple, affordable technology, very simple, simplified technology, which could be utilized by the customer, financial inclusion customer, bank customer, okay, and whatever changes he needs to be done efficiently in the system. In the technology, whatever changes as desirable, as required by the customer should be deployed immediately, okay. And more importantly, like you and me, we should ensure that the data, or whatever data is what? All your details with the bank should be secured all the time, Bank should ensure that the technology what we are deploying should be seen that it is quite secure and convenient for the customer, okay. Of course, yes, last one, when we see that the technology is simple, efficient, we should see that the transaction happens quickly and efficiently without much of effort. The point which we discussed in the morning, the technology should be in such a way that it could be offline, it could be online also. So doing the transaction, the flaw, what we see in the technology, that if suppose there is no technology, the efforts you are doing, the mode which you are putting into should be efficient to do the transaction without connectivity also, without such issue. Okay? Next. So having said so, we'll see what could be the agenda now before. What could be the agenda? We have seen what is the requirement, okay, what are the challenges ahead. Then for us, for all of us as a banker, what is the agenda for this particular sector, financial inclusion, to be accomplished? Yes. Look at the bottom of pyramid. Why we see this? The pyramid, what I mean to say, the pyramid is broad-based, quite huge. The pyramid needs to be moved gradually, okay. The pyramid is quite big, okay. That pyramid indicates a huge and big, large opportunity for all of us, okay. So there is a need of moving ahead of this particular big pillar of pyramid. Then, as and when we move ahead, as and when, what is the perspective, what is the opportunity for us is as and when we move up, as and when we enable the system to go up, what will happen? There could be a change in the income chain. There is change in the chain of income, the aspect of income. In a way, we'll see that there is enhancement of income to all rural. Today we see that they are rural people, or they are having into low income group, but time will change. Time will see their income pattern will change. Then what will happen? As and when there is enhancement of income, some income changes. Fortunately, they have more income, more money in hand, then they will ask for more products. As of now, what we are looking forward, simplified, simple model of financial inclusion, giving preliminary services, all basic services. Whereas going ahead, it would not be static. That model should not be static. Going ahead, there would be demand. There would be demand from the customers for more and more product, more and more value-added products. So it will create a huge demand and challenge for us. That would be agenda in years to come. Again, it would be a quite gradual process. In the words of Mr. Prahlad, he is an eminent economist. What he says, very, very eminent, very important statement he has done. He says there is a huge rural financial services. The market is quite open. What we say in management, it's a cake. It's a cake for all of us, and the cake size is quite big, very big. Okay, so it's a waiting for you. Who will go and grab that cake? Okay, of course, doesn't mean that some one person or one bank will go and grab the cake, because the cake size is quite big, and it is again changing the size. It is widening the size. Okay, so it depends on financial service provider, maybe bank or any institution, how much share of the cake you can get, how much share of the cake. All depends on you. What he said, Dr. Prahlad says, is that the opportunity is already lying, is available to you. Okay, all depends is what matters is who can tap it, who can go and have that portion in your favor. Okay. So lastly, in short, the agenda is very, very clear. We should deploy the financial inclusion platform in a, of course, time-bound manner, no timelines fixed. But for us, we should have that how fast we can spread this message, how far we can spread the concept as such, how fast we can go to the closest to this economy or the sector of the economy and have this platform spread for all of us. Okay, with this BC model, business concern model, as a one-time, this has to be a one-time service provider. Please mind well. A shop giving all goods, financial products to a person who needs whatever you want under this umbrella of financial products. We are there. Okay, so ultimately it should happen as a one-time, one-point shop for you, one-point service provider shop for you. Okay, so that all their preliminary requirements, as of now, all their preliminary requirements are met. That's all from me. So I'm open for all your questions. Thank you. Yeah. Silent movie, yeah.
BC can help to prepare the project proposal.
What project?
Like dairy, poultry.
Right now it is not designed into his model, may not be. This would be fulfilled by the, as and when, it will depend on the services we provide. As and when the BC model as such will be stepping into the asset model also. Right now what we are talking about is his small savings, small investment, is preliminary requirement. Okay, as and when the bank enters into asset model also, of course, that would be, I would say, in other words, this will lead for upgradation of BC capability. The capability building has to be built up to that. Not right now. I would not say the time is right now. I think I have clear.
So, good afternoon, sir. I am Ankita Rawat from second year. My question is related to financial inclusion. Sir, in rural cooperative banking system. So why the primary agriculture credit societies are still critical in providing financial inclusion to the poor people, those are residing in the rural areas. Still, these societies are very near to the rural population, and still they are hard in providing financial inclusion services to them.
Good question. I would say, as far as this concept as financial inclusion is concerned, cooperative banks are not kept away. They are please have a seat. They have been part of, to a limited extent, they are also part of financial inclusion. So whatever underlying principles, whatever underlying duties we are looking forward, the same way they are applied to cooperative banks also. The question today is how best they are suited, how best they educate themselves, how best they make themselves capable of providing this. That's all. This question mark still will remain, but time will come, like any other players, the way we are going, say like private sector bank like ICICI Bank, they are going to that area. Nobody would have believed, isn't it? Nobody would have believed that we can go to a remotest of the places. Now that this time has come, we are going, we are proving ourselves. This could be a challenge for cooperative banks larger. It's a time they should wake up.
Is there any norms or guidelines are set by RBI according to related to these schemes provided to the primary?
Of course, yes, we discussed in the morning. Yes, there are directions from RBI, Reserve Bank of India, that as to what could be the functions of the BC and who could be a BC, who could be appointed as BC of the bank. There are broad guidelines from the bank, whereas specific guidelines are formulated, designed by the district bank. There are broad guidelines, and there are huge category of people, huge category of organizations who can become BC. It's a challenge for all the people. Like suppose a banker who is a retired banker can become BC. Post office can function as a BC. Teacher can become a BC. Provided he fulfills the broad principle of financial, definitely can be.
Thanks.
There is some small limitation as far as my knowledge goes. There is a limitation as for NBFC. Any NBFC to become BC, there are some limitations, some strict norms as far as RBI is concerned. There are, of course, there are authorities, they can throw more light. As of now, there are certain limitations, certain norms which is applicable for NBFC to become. We'll put through ourselves. By 2020, just to brief you, by 2020, few banks, not all, will be one of the top 10 banks in India, in world. We have our own strategies, we have our plan layout like this, so that on the international map, on the international scenario, we will be one of the top 10 banks in the world. If we have to achieve that position and maintain, continue, financial inclusion also would be one of the parts, would be deciding parameter. Yes, of course. If you want to go global, this could be one of the factors to be decided. In addition to other than this, like your asset quality, profitability, attrition rate, or so many. Yeah?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Mangesh from second year. Sir, in first session we talked about SME lending. Sir, in SME case we see that most of the SMEs fail to succeed. So what are the bank's provision for that, for recovery of default?
Just like any other SMEs, they are not special guests for the bank. Of course, this is not related to the topic, but I can say out of my experience, SMEs, they are not a special category. The way we treat all non-performing assets or the assets which are not performing, same treatment should be given to them. Like whatever, persuasion, then normal recovery, then legal recourse, whatever we do for any asset to recover. The theme is recovery. The money has to come back to us for all these activities. The underlying formula remains the same for SME also. If we are doing some lenient view to agriculturist or SME, yes, this could be applied to SME also.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Ansar from second year.
Yeah.
My question is regarding FDI. Is there any chance of 100% FDI in banking? As currently it is 70% in private and 20% in commercial. If yes, then what is the benefit that we can get from? As
of now, as far as banks are concerned, there are guidelines, limited guidelines. But yes, we discussed in the morning, and my colleagues, the regulator, they are also there to throw some light on this. As of now, of course, the entry is limited to this particular extent. But yes, as and when it comes, again, as we discussed, you can take as a positive challenge. Yes, would not be a threat as well. FDI when it comes. First of all, what could be a additional plus factor for us? They will throw additional money for us, isn't it? They are capable of putting a more capital into this. Yes, that should be welcome. How best they make use of this capital for the benefit of our country at large, not for the few sections of the society. Okay, if they are capable enough or they are planned enough to provide the capital and their returns to the lowest of the society, we should welcome this. I don't think any element which could be a threat for this. As of now, of course, this is not there, but yes, as and when the policy is revised and there is entry of more FDIs into this sector, yes, As you have seen, there has been norms for insurance sector, isn't it? To the extent of 51%, FDI has been allowed. This definitely it is welcome for insurance sector in India. Definitely. In terms of servicing the customers, in terms of giving more returns to the customer, in terms of changing the attitude of the people for making more investment to insurance sector, definitely it is welcome. It is changing. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Ankita Patil from second year.
Yeah.
Sir, what are the current decision of RBI on mobile wallet